3. ARS, paragraph 13-2320, fraudulent schemes and practices, willful concealment, classification. This provision enhances penalties for fraudulent schemes involving the concealment of property or the identity of individuals involved in transactions. It's particularly relevant in cases where straw buyers or false identities are used in the commission of deed fraud. Case study: application of ARS, paragraph 13-2320 in Arizona. Deed fraud background. In a notable Arizona case involving ARS, paragraph 13-2320, a real estate fraud ring exploited straw buyers to obscure the identity of the actual parties involved, facilitating multiple fraudulent transactions. This case provides an illustrative example of how the statute is applied to combat and penalize concealed fraudulent activities in real estate. The scheme. The fraud involved a group of individuals who orchestrated a complex scheme to purchase properties using the identities of unsuspecting straw buyers. These properties were then quickly resold at inflated prices in a classic flip scenario, generating significant profits for the fraudsters. The key to the scheme was the concealment of the true beneficiaries of the transactions and the financial manipulations that inflated property values. Method of operation. The fraudsters recruited individuals with good credit scores but limited understanding of real estate transactions. These straw buyers were promised a small fee in exchange for their names and credit information to purchase properties. The orchestrators of the scheme then took out mortgages in the names of these straw buyers, without their full understanding of the implications. Following the initial purchase, the properties were sold multiple times among members of the ring to artificially drive up their prices before being offloaded on the market at significantly higher prices or defaulted on, leaving lenders with properties worth much less than the owed mortgage amounts. Legal action. When the scheme was uncovered, prosecutors charged the perpetrators under ARS, paragraph 13-2320, focusing on their use of willful concealment to facilitate and profit from the transactions. This statute was particularly relevant because it addresses not only the fraud itself, but also the deliberate attempt to hide the identity of those involved and the true nature of the transactions. Outcome and penalties. The court found the defendants guilty of participating in fraudulent schemes and practices with willful concealment. They were subjected to enhanced penalties due to the sophisticated nature of their concealment tactics and the substantial financial damage inflicted on both the straw buyers whose credit was ruined and the lenders who suffered significant losses. The penalties included lengthy prison sentences and substantial fines, reflecting the severity of the offenses under the statute. Implications. This case serves as a strong precedent and a warning about the serious consequences of engaging in real estate transactions that involve deceit and concealment. It highlights the effectiveness of ARS, paragraph 13-2320, in providing law enforcement agencies and prosecutors with the necessary legal tools to address complex deed fraud schemes, particularly those involving hidden identities and fraudulent practices. Conclusion. The enforcement of ARS, paragraph 13-2320. In this case, underscores Arizona's commitment to maintaining integrity in real estate transactions and protecting the financial interests of both individuals and institutions. It demonstrates how critical legal provisions are in uncovering and prosecuting sophisticated fraud schemes and reinforces the importance of transparency and honesty in property dealings. 4. ARS, paragraph 13-2202, forgery, classification. Forgery involving deeds, contracts, or other legal instruments that affect property ownership is a criminal offense under this law. This statute covers the creation or alteration of legal documents with the intent to defraud, a common tactic in deed fraud cases. Case study, application of ARS, paragraph 13-2212, forgery, classification background. In a high-profile case in Phoenix, Arizona, an individual named Michael was charged under ARS, paragraph 13-2202, for his involvement in a deed fraud scheme that targeted elderly homeowners. The case provides a detailed example of how forgery statutes are applied in real estate fraud. The scheme Michael, working alongside two accomplices, created a fraudulent company that purported to assist homeowners with property tax assessments. Through this guise, they gained access to homeowners' properties and personal documents. They targeted particularly vulnerable individuals, primarily elderly homeowners without close family ties. The forgery. Michael and his team forged the signatures of several homeowners on deeds that transferred property ownership to the fraudulent company. They utilized sophisticated techniques to replicate signatures, including tracing and digital manipulation. The forged deeds were then notarized by a complicit notary public, who falsely attested to witnessing the homeowner's signatures. The discovery. The scheme came to light when a family member of one of the victims noticed discrepancies in the property records during a routine estate planning review. Further investigation revealed that similar fraudulent transfers had occurred involving other properties, all linked back to Michael's company. Legal proceedings. Under ARS Paragraph 13-2202, forgery involving legal documents that affect property ownership is classified as a felony. The statute specifies that anyone who, with the intent to defraud, falsely makes, completes, or alters a written instrument is guilty of forgery. In this case, the forged deeds were considered written instruments under the law. Michael was charged with multiple counts of forgery. The prosecution needed to prove that he had the intent to defraud and that he participated in the making, completing, or altering of the deeds. The inclusion of the notary public's fraudulent attestations further strengthened the case, demonstrating a deliberate attempt to mislead and defraud. Outcome. The court found Michael guilty on multiple counts of forgery. He was sentenced to a significant term in prison, reflecting the seriousness of the offenses and the vulnerability of the victims. Additionally, the court ordered restitution to the affected homeowners, aiming to restore them to their original property status as much as possible. Implications. This case highlights the importance of ARS Paragraph 13-2202 in combating real estate fraud in Arizona. It underscores the law's role in addressing not only the act of forgery, but also the broader intent to defraud within the real estate sector. The statute serves as a critical tool for prosecutors in holding perpetrators accountable and for deterring potential fraudsters by establishing strict penalties for forgery related to property transactions. This case study not only reflects the application of specific Arizona statutes, but also illustrates the broader challenges and complexities involved in detecting and prosecuting deed fraud, emphasizing the need for vigilance among property owners and legal professionals.